Hi guys, Cam from Seatskins Leather Trim Kits here with another how to install a console cover video. And this is a hexagon stitched one in silver. We have many different types on our website and on eBay to purchase, with plenty of options for stitching, color and styles. There'll be a link to this product below, and we've got a few different methods for fitting this. Today I'm going to show you how we fit it, but then at the end of the video I'm also going to show you some alternative methods in case you don't have some of the more pro tools that we have. There will be other ways to get the job done. We'd really appreciate if you like and subscribe if you like this sort of content and you want to see more of it. With that said, let's get into how to install this VYVZ console cover. So the first thing is going to be to get it out of the car. There's 2 screws that hold this hinge, and then it's out of the car. Next step will be to undo these 4 screws. That's pretty straightforward. Then you're going to want something to just pry a little to get this plastic trim off the bottom. It's always a good idea to look after your screws by keeping it with the other parts. 2 screws here to take this hinge off. Try and make note of the direction and way that this hinge sits on there. Is not entirely essential, however, it does make for a slightly neater job. What we do next here in our shop is we trim off this this lip here, just to give a bit more space for the added thickness of the new trim that's going on. That way it'll sit a bit flusher and nicer. You don't have to do this though. So with a sharp blade, we just trim around here. And remove this bit. So next, let's just talk about what is the front, what is the back. This is the front, obviously, because it didn't have the hinge on it. So that's the rear, that's the front. The front has a little sort of scalloped out section there as well. That's how you can tell also. And the front is more sloping. The back is a bit sharper and taller. So then we look at the console cover. You might think because that is sharper that might be the rear, but it's actually the other way around. Reason being is we've made this sharper to suck around the front because there's more area to get around here at the front. There's less at the rear. We want the front to really suck around. So let's look at fitting it. We'll fit the front first. That's the sharper, longer section. Get that sucked around there at the front. Hold it with our body or our gut, in my case. Be careful not to spread the seams apart too much as you're pulling this around. little bit of warmth from our heat source can help to ensure you don't tear things and that things are just a little stretchier. But if you just hold them together, you'll go fine. Now we'll quickly have a look at how we're sort of looking. Our seam's sitting pretty nice there. If we have a look underneath, we can see that at the front here, that's sucking around this area. There's a little bit of excess here to get rid of. We'll talk about how to do that. But that's sitting pretty good there with the seam definitely sitting underneath the plastic. The plastic's going to finish off there. At the rear here, though, we're sitting a little off. So it's going to need to move a little that way. So let's do just a little tweak, pushing it further backwards until we're happy that that's pretty close to going around there. Then next step, I would say to just check where your seams are sitting and that you're happy that that is universal, sitting in the middle. Then we're going to go ahead and whack a couple of staples in. Just a couple. We can always come back and put more in. As I mentioned earlier, we're going to talk about other methods if you don't have a pneumatic staple gun or a staple gun that could do this sort of work. Now, next what I want to do is just warm it up a little all over generally in order to get it pulled tight, not super crazy tight, but nice and taut from front to rear as the next step. We're also going to make sure that our seams are sitting central. So push backwards, move that around. Make sure we're happy with where the seams are sitting. If you put your thumbs like that or something like that, you can see the distance from there to there. If you wanted to get crazy technical, you could definitely use a ruler. However, I'm pretty good by eye. So now we want to make sure that our stitches are going around the corner and going to be hidden from when the plastic goes on. Again, just a couple of staples. Don't need to go too crazy at this point. Just to make sure it's held. Now, again, we'll have a look at the top and see how we're looking. I'm pretty happy with that. I would say that this there needs to come out a little. That needs to come out a little there. Otherwise, it's looking pretty good. So what I would then do is go to the center and pull side to side. I can see this side's a little shorter than this side. So I'm going to move it over that way a little. Then I'm happy. I'm going to come around holding that bit. And again, just a couple of staples in the middle only. Now if we set up the other side, push it over just a little. Couple of staples there. We can also tell, you know, this is universal, this cover. It's made, this pattern, this piece, the pattern for this piece is exactly the same as this piece. So if we've ended up at exactly the same point on the bottom, then we know that we've got our seams central. So now we're looking pretty good. We've got some excess here to get rid of and to work with. We're going to do that. That's all right. And then we'll also have some down in this corner to work with. So what we want to do, the general idea is that we want to pull this back this way, and then sort of spread that out over that area from there to there. Now we're going to use a little bit of heat to make this a bit easier also. Be careful. Keep touching the vinyl to make sure, vinyl, leatherette, leather, whatever your cover's made of, to make sure you're not burning anything. Now again, we'll get our staple gun. I'm just pushing this down here so that you can get it around that screw hole there. Just sort of tucking in. Don't have to pull super tight, you just sort of need to set it up really nicely. By the way, this is all just to hold this in the correct position before putting this back on. Once this goes back on and is screwed in, the cover's going nowhere. So the method for actually putting the cover on is not a big deal. Once the cover goes on, it's held. Now we go to one of the rear corners, warming it up. Again, touching, making sure we're not getting it too hot. At this back corner here, we really want to make sure this seam comes around, and so that the plastic trim is going to cover that and it's going to look nice. We smooth out any slight creases there. Get a staple in to begin with. Move along and sort of spread out the rest of the excess, and making sure you're getting a little tension on it there, that way. We tuck this in and around the screw parts. Now, have a look at the top, make sure we're happy. I'm pretty happy. Having a look at our seams, making sure that there's even spacing right down. You can move it around a little bit, play around a little bit until you're happy, but I'm happy with that. So we're going to put our hinge back on, trying to remember which way that went, of course. I believe it was this way. Remember which screws were for what. These longer, bigger ones are for the hinge, and look, there's only 2 of them versus 4 for the plastic, so pretty obvious what's for what. Once we put the hinge on, we need to do a few little trimming cutouts for these little prongs that go down and click in. So you can get an idea of where they are by simply going like that, and then you can feel them. Now you could go and put it on and properly and mark with a white pencil or something if you wanted to, but personally I just go ahead and feel for it. Now you want to be about 10 mil down from this edge. The plastic is going to come up to here, so being 10 mil down, a centimetre, you're going to have plenty of leeway to make sure you don't see this cut. And we're just going to make a little square rectangle cutout, but your starting point for that cutout is about 10 mil down from this edge. So it should look like that on both sides. 1, 2, 3, for the 1, 2, 3 prongs. Now that we've got that all trimmed, we can slot this part in, making sure that at the back here our threads and seams are all tucked in. Now if we get at least 1 or 2 screws in, these points will start clicking in. As we do that, it's a good idea to press down and put pressure in that area so that you're not going to crack the plastic because you've got the plastic sitting down. As you can see, those prongs have clicked into place and now that's sitting nice and flat and flush. That's the VZ style console cover. Also in Monaros of that same era, they had the same one here. That's how to install it. I hope this helps so that you understand and know a bit more about what's involved in doing something like this. That's why we're doing these videos, so that you can make an informed decision, check out what's involved and see if you want to tackle something like this, or if you don't. You can still purchase it. You can take it to a local trimmer to have it fitted, or upholsterer. But as you can see, pretty straightforward. So now let's talk about those alternate methods. If you don't have a pneumatic staple gun, or if you don't have staples for a hand staple gun that are small enough in length. We used 6mm on this particular one. That's on average, what we use. Sometimes 3mm, 4mm, slightly smaller ones. 6mm, sometimes 8mm in certain areas with a lot of bulk on a leather one or something. But a lot of handheld ones, there's not a lot of staples available out there, easily available from Bunnings or whatever. So you might only have 10mm or something. Obviously be aware that there is danger that you come through or feel it anyway. So there's other ways than this. This is mainly great for, it holds it really well, but it's great for speed. Now for a trim shop, that's important, of course. But you can definitely do this same job with glue. We use contact adhesive in a spray gun. But you could definitely do it with hot glue or super glue. It would just be a much slower process. Why? Because you would need to hold each area and wait for it to set, whether it's super glue or hot glue. All of this ends up underneath here, and as I mentioned earlier, once this plastic is on, the cover is held. So the method to hold it doesn't actually matter that much. It's really just this is faster, this is going to be slower, because you're going to glue a little section, hold it down with your fingers, try not to burn yourself, and then wait for that to set before moving on to another area. So it'd just be a little slower. But yeah, that's it. Please check out the website. Please like and subscribe if you want to see more of this content. The website link will be below. And yeah, get your trim on.